Well, it's got a lot more Hollywood. I guess I don't know. I guess it's money that does that to everybody, you know. But now everybody's inaccessible to the spectator, inaccessible to you guys, inaccessible to everybody, and they all have their managers and their spokespeople and their whatever, you know. You don't ever call one of them on the phone. You call his manager or his PR person or whatever, you know. In the old days, if you wanted to talk to a writer, you called him at his house. And you go, hey, Kent, what are you doing? You know. So it's a lot different there. I don't think that's that good, you know. It's not that good for the fans, that's for sure. So I don't know. I don't know where it's going there. The rider's gotten bigger than his britches. Maybe that's where it is. Yeah, I think they're a little bit, they're probably a little out of line there, I think. You know, when you have to pick a number, you got to pick a number like you're at the bakery to get an autograph signed at the race. That's pretty ridiculous, I think. I think probably those riders ought to stay after the race till there's nobody that wants an autograph left. That's what we did. And they don't do it anymore. You know, in that sense, I don't think motocross, other than that, I don't think it's changed. It's still racing motorcycles over dirt, and everybody that rides them came from under a rock, you know. They didn't come from royalty. None of us ever came from royalty. We came from the desert or the South Texas or a junkyard in New York like Weiner, you know, and so we weren't royalty, and I don't think anybody, we never thought we were royalty in the old days. I don't know about the new guys. I think they're royalty maybe. And I don't know if that's money that does, you tell me, you know, I don't know. They kind of forget where they come from though, you know. They come from grassroots, and we never really left that. You know, it never really got, and it was probably more grassroots even before I was in it. And I think it's probably the money changes it. Probably the money, but I don't think it has to. I mean, if a writer really wanted to stick around and talk to the people, well, in the old days we had guys that didn't stick around and talk to the people. So I think that's all a personal deal. You know, I did it because I liked it, and basically it helped me. Because let's say I go to the racetrack and I've got 50% of the fans are mine, and then after and 50% of them are other riders, and then after the race, when it's all over, and an hour after the race, my truck's still there, and I'm still there standing there talking to people, and they're over there, and their favorite riders are gone. So what do? They mingle over to me. Now, maybe some of them like me or didn't, but at the end of the day, maybe some of them ended up liking me, and then I've drawn those fans to me. So my fan base is huge then. And it's because I did that, but I did it because I liked it. I didn't do it. I didn't have a plan, oh, I'm going to get all these fans over on my side. I did it because it was part of it. I mean, that's why I was there. I had nowhere to go. I'm not in a hurry to go to the hotel. Oh, I don't know if they can't be, but I think the die-hard guy that has nothing to do but win and wants to win, wants to be the best. Yeah, there are not very many of those guys. You know, McGrath is one, obviously. Carmichael's one, obviously. And we had them in the old days, too. Mark Barnett, Stanton's, guys like that they finally learn and they put the blinders on, you know. Everybody goes along, and finally you figure out what it takes to win, and if you really like it that much, then you go, hey, that's what I want. I'm putting the blinders on. I'm going to keep everything out of my life, and that's where I'm going, you know. Sure, if it's now guys, that's the guy nowadays, for sure. Yeah, and he wants it, and maybe he didn't have it given to him, and he has to work harder, and that'll make him better in the long run. When it comes easy to you, and if it would have came easy to me, if my dad would have been worth $1 billion, I'd have never been motocross champ. Never. Because I would have been too lazy. And I know that. I know I would have, if I'd have had it handed to me, I would have been lazy. You know, I think anytime somebody's handed to somebody, they never appreciate it, they'll never be good at it, and it'll never be a long job for them. It'll come and go. You'll be a flash in the pants, like you say. And Dungy's he comes from under a rock like I did, and he really wants it, and now he realizes, hey, I can do it, and I'm going to. Maybe he didn't know he could do it. Maybe he didn't know he'd be that good. And then he gets a little one win or something, and he goes, hey, I like this. And that's how all of us did it. You know, when I started, I didn't know I could win. I didn't think I could win. I thought, no, there's no way I can win. And then once you win one, you say, man, I won one. I got to figure out how I can do this again. And then you get you a game plan. And then once you win, and if you really like it that much, so you put the blinders on. And Dungey probably has the blinders on now. You know, he wants it now, and he knows he's going to go get it. And he goes, hey, I'm going to go after this, you know. And you got to put a lot of stuff aside. You know, you can't be, they said that about fighters, you know, boxers, the worst thing that can happen to a boxer is he gets civilized. Okay, same thing, motocrosser. Boxers come out from under a rock too. They're not civilized people. They start boxing and they go through the ranks and they get up there, and once they're world champ, they get civilized, and then too many things are coming at them, you know. They're doing other things, and then their boxing kind of goes downhill. It's hard to keep focused and keep the main thing on whatever career you have. And I think, and you can't do it forever anyway, because physically you go down after a while. After Dungey's 35 years old, then he'll understand that. But you got to go for it while you have it. You have to have some luck, but you have to have a lot of desire and willing to cut out all the other bull crap, you know. I don't know how many it did, but very first race, I didn't know if I could even race one. And then I raced, and I said, hey, I can race these. I don't know how good I could be, but I'll go a little farther. And then the very first fairly big CMC win, I said, hey, you know, I can win this. I'd like to try the AMA, you know. And I really didn't think I'd probably win in the AMA races. And then when I won one, I go, well, I can win a few. Maybe I can win a few. And then you get going, and then you say, then you have the desire to dominate, you know. You want to try to dominate them. At least I did, you know. I don't really do anything kind of half-ass. I either don't do it or I like to do it fairly decent, you know. Yeah, I have the same attitude about my business right now as I did in racing. My business right now is a war, the way I look at it, okay? And I have to work at it, and everybody else is the enemy. And when I was racing, everybody else that was in my league was the enemy. If they were below my league, no problem with them, you know. If they really can't race with me, I don't have a problem with that guy. If he's a threat to me, yeah, I have a problem with that guy. Okay, he's taking money from my pocket, and I probably, you know, most of them we're not going to like each other anyway, because we both have big egos in the first place, or we wouldn't be there. And George Foreman doesn't like Muhammad Ali, okay? They want to beat each other's ass. They don't like him, and that's the whole deal out there. And if I'm racing with you and we're going for a national championship, I don't really want to like you. I don't really want to know you. And the same thing in the airplane business for me now, you know. The other dealers are the enemy. I shake their hand, say, hi, how are you? But they're the enemy, you know. So, yeah, it's a different deal for me. But one reason why the motorcycles, maybe I cut it off kind of cold turkey, like I never raced after the day I said I was quitting, I've never raced again, is because I put 100% into it for 15 years. And I feel a lot of guys don't. I feel a lot of guys put 50% in or 70% in or whatever the heck they put in. They did not run themselves ragged, and I did. And now they never satisfied their dream, and I did. I did it as hard as I could, the best way I knew, and if you look back, you could do things better. But hindsight's everything. Hindsight's 20/20, okay? And if I look back, I know there were times I should have mellowed out. And, you know, that cost me lots of money and lots of championships by jumping stupid stuff that I didn't need to jump to win the race and get hurt, break a wrist, so, you know. And I look back and I go, why was I so stupid? But it was my demeanor to put the blinders on and full steam ahead. And that's really what kept me going and what kept the drive going. I couldn't be 80%. And really, I needed to be 90%. Back it down some days, look at the long run, and don't try to kill everybody every weekend, because you get hurt a lot doing that. And that's where I say I made my biggest mistakes, is I needed to mellow out a little bit. But I had outside guys, mechanics and stuff too, driving me the same way, and we really needed to back it down a little bit, because you are not Superman. You know, you break like everybody else. And Rick Johnson, when he's the greatest, broke his wrist and he's done. You know, we all break the same. And you really need to mellow out a little bit. A guy really needs to have some outside advice on Dungey. Dungey ought to go as hard as he can, as hard as he needs to barely win. No more. You know, train very, very hard, but ride, 90% so you don't bust your ass and you have a nice long career. You do not need to do stupid jumps. You don't need to show off. You don't need to do crazy shit. And keep your mind on that motocross bike. Not out doing X Games, flipping in this crap. You know what I mean? You need to have a brain. No, really good motocrosser, but is kind of X Game specialist.
Oh, Pastrana.
Pastrana could probably do anything he wants in the world, but he's all over the place, I think. And I don't think a guy ought to be all over the place. I think it's going to get him sooner or later. If that's what he has to do, that's great, but that's not me. A guy like Pastrana could have been national champion. Obviously, he doesn't care about that, But you don't want to be looking at guys like Pastrana and going, oh, I'm going to go do this X game and I'm going to do a backflip and stuff. Concentrate on what you're doing, Concentrate on what you're doing. Be the best at that, and don't do stupid stuff, because you'll get hurt and you're done forever. There's a lot of life after motocross. Okay, motocross is going to be 10 or 15 years if you're lucky, and 2 years if you're not, or a year if you're not. You can't be stupid. Yeah, that was just my mentality. It was total focus, 100%. Kill everybody all the time, and I really needed to back it down in the hindsight when I look back. And I had a lot longer career and made more money and won more races if I would have, but I didn't know it at the time. And that's what got me going in originally was that attitude. So I can't really say I wish I didn't have that attitude, because that's really what made me. That's what makes me today. But I try to be a little smarter today. Even in my bicycle riding, we go down the hill and we go pretty crazy, and I go, you know what? I'm 54. I don't need to beat that guy every day. If he's going to win today, let him win today, But we ride the bicycles pretty intense now, and sometimes too much.
Is that hard?
Oh, even the road bikes, we race down the downhills we race up the hill, but then we race down the hill, and it's too dangerous, really. And sometimes I think, man, you get a flat at the wrong time. The other day I got a flat. 15 minutes later, I'd have been in the hospital for a week, if that, or longer, because the tire exploded before the downhill. And if it would have happened just on the other side, I was 60 miles an hour. I'd have been dead, And so sometimes I think nowadays that I'm still as stupid as I ever was.
I was going to say, is it hard to turn it off?
Yes, sure. I like that stuff. I love road racing those bicycles down the hill. If I was 20 again, I'd really like to do some road racing, because I love road racing. I love that. The trouble is you only have one life. You can't do everything. When you got 20 to 30 and then you're old. So I can't go back and race road racers, But I love that. I love to ride road bikes. I love to race street bikes, But you can only do one thing in your life, really. That kind of stuff. Then you need to mellow out or you're going to be dead. So we try to keep that tamed down. We went from bullet bikes too, everybody, we were all riding bullet bikes on the street even, and then we went to Harleys just to keep us alive. The freaking Harley at about 100 is swapping so bad you don't go past 100, you know what I mean? At 100 they're moving around going, oh, what a tub of shit. Saddlebags are on it, and we're dragging them, and I go, at least we're only doing 100. Because if we're on a bullet bike, we'd be doing 160, just,